The text came through during my Tuesday morning budget meeting. My phone buzzed on the conference table and I glanced down to see Dad's name on the screen. I excused myself, stepped into the hallway and opened the message. Talk to my lawyer. You're disowned. Don't contact me again. No context. No explanation. Just 12 words that apparently ended our relationship. I stood in that hallway for maybe 30 seconds reading it twice. Then I typed back a single word, understood. I walked back into my office, closed the door and pulled up my financial management dashboard. My fingers moved automatically across the keyboard, finding the account I'd set up 7 years ago. The one labeled Family Support, Oakwood. I composed an email to my financial advisor. Effective immediately, cancel all automatic payments to 2847 Oakwood Drive. Close the support account. Transfer remaining balance to my primary checking. I hit send. Then I went back to my budget meeting like nothing had happened. 7 years earlier, I'd been 25 and starting my first real job at a government contracting firm. Entry-level analyst position. Decent salary for someone fresh out of grad school, but nothing extraordinary. Dad had called me that week. Jessica, I need to talk to you about something. His voice had that tone. The one that meant money problems. The business is struggling, he'd explained. Just temporary. But we might lose the house. Your mother's devastated. If we could just get through the next few months. I'd had $8,000 in my savings account. My emergency fund. I'd sent him $5,000. Just until we get back on our feet, he'd promised. 3 months later he'd called again. More problems. The market was down. Clients were backing out. Could I help just one more time? I'd helped. And again the next month. And the month after that. By the end of my first year I'd sent Dad $23,000. Nearly half my take-home salary. That's when I'd gotten strategic about it. I'd set up the automatic payment system. $3,200 every month, transferred directly to the mortgage company. Dad never even saw the money. It just kept his house from foreclosure without him having to ask me repeatedly. It's easier this way, I'd told him. Automatic. You don't have to worry. Just temporary, he'd repeated. Once the business turns around. The business never turned around. Years 2 through 4 I'd been promoted twice. Government contracting cybersecurity analyst to senior analyst to project lead. My salary had increased significantly, especially after I'd obtained my top-level security clearances. Dad's financial situation never improved. The automatic payments continued. $3,200 every month. His mortgage, his property taxes, his homeowner's insurance. I'd added utilities after year 3 when he'd mentioned possibly losing power. Just until next quarter, he'd said. I'd never brought it up. Never mentioned the growing total in my private spreadsheet. $38,400 per year. Times 7 years. $268,800. Plus the additional emergency payments. His car when it broke down, $4,200. The roof repair he couldn't afford, $12,000. Medical bills after mom's surgery, $8,500. The property tax penalty when he'd forgotten to pay, $6,300. My private spreadsheet showed $311,400 total. But I kept paying. Kept quiet. Because family was supposed to help family, right? My brother Nathan was Dad's favorite. Always had been. Nathan was charismatic, confident, outgoing. He'd taken over Dad's struggling commercial real estate business at 28, promising to turn it around. 5 years later the business was still struggling. But Nathan had a nice car. A downtown loft. Season tickets to every sports team. He posted constantly on social media about his lifestyle, his networking events, his investment opportunities. At family dinners, Dad would beam at Nathan. He's building something real. Legacy business. Generational wealth. Then he'd look at me. Jessica's doing fine too. Government job. Very stable. Very steady. The way he said steady made it sound like an insult. I'd never told them about my actual career progression. About the classified projects. The executive briefings. The fact that by year 5, I'd been consulting for 3-letter agencies on cybersecurity infrastructure worth billions. I'd let them think I was just a mid-level government employee with a steady paycheck. It was safer that way. Nathan got engaged last fall. His fiancée Meredith came from money, old money. Her family owned half a county's worth of commercial property. The engagement party was at their country club. 200 guests. Open bar. Live band. Dad had been glowing. This is what success looks like, he told everyone. My son marrying into the Carmichael family. Building something extraordinary. I'd worn a simple dress. Brought a modest gift. Congratulated Nathan and Meredith appropriately. And what about you, Jessica? Meredith's mother had asked, her smile polite but distant. What do you do? Government work, I'd replied. Cybersecurity analysis. Oh. She'd lost interest immediately. How nice. Steady work. Nathan had pulled me aside later that evening. Listen, about the wedding. I'll be there, I'd said. Of course. Yeah, about that. He'd looked uncomfortable. Meredith's doing this whole seating chart thing. Very formal. And with her family and our business contacts, we're kind of limited on space. I'd waited. The thing is, we're keeping it to immediate family only on our side. Parents, obviously. But, you understand, right? You're not inviting me to your wedding. It's not personal, he'd said quickly. It's just, Meredith's family is very particular about appearances. And you're just, a government employee. It might look weird having you there when we're trying to make the right impression with her family's business circle. I'd nodded slowly. I understand. I knew you'd get it, Nathan had said, relieved. You've always been the practical one. I'd left the engagement party early. Drove home in silence. Sat in my downtown condo, the one nobody in my family had ever visited, and stared at my financial dashboard. $311,400. I'd paid that much to keep their house, to maintain their lifestyle, to preserve their image. And I wasn't good enough to attend my brother's wedding. I'd closed the laptop and gone to bed. 3 months later, the disownment text arrived. I'd never found out why. Dad's message had just said to talk to his lawyer. No explanation of what I'd supposedly done wrong. I'd sent one text back, understood. Then I'd canceled everything. The first week after I stopped the payments, nothing happened. My financial advisor confirmed the account closure. The final automatic payment, scheduled for the 15th, never processed. I worked, attended meetings, briefed a senator's aide on infrastructure vulnerabilities, reviewed classified proposals worth $47 million in federal contracts. Nobody at work knew anything had changed. On Friday, I got a text from Mom. Haven't heard from you lately. Everything okay? I replied, everything's fine. Been busy with work. She didn't mention the mortgage payment. Neither did I. The mortgage company sent their first notice to 2847 Oakwood Drive. Payment was 15 days late. I knew because I still had access to the mortgage account. I'd been the one paying it for 7 years. The automatic notification emails still came to my inbox. Payment due $3,200. Late fee, $150. Please remit immediately to avoid further penalties. I deleted the email. Dad didn't call. The foreclosure notice arrived on a Tuesday. Notice of default and election to sell under deed of trust. The mortgage company had sent it via certified mail. 45 days to bring the account current or face foreclosure proceedings. Current amount due, $6,550. 2 months of missed payments plus penalties. I knew Dad had received it because my phone exploded that afternoon. 17 missed calls. 23 text messages. I was in a classified briefing. My phone was locked in the security compartment outside the SEF. When I retrieved it 3 hours later, the notifications had multiplied. 34 missed calls. 41 texts. All from Dad. I scrolled through the messages. Call me immediately. Jessica, this is serious. The bank is threatening foreclosure. Where is the mortgage payment? We're going to lose the house. Call me now. I didn't call. I drove home, changed into comfortable clothes and made dinner. Pasta with marinara sauce. A glass of wine. I ate slowly, reading a novel I'd been working through. My phone kept buzzing. I'd put it on silent. Dad showed up at my office building the next morning. I was walking from the parking garage when I saw him standing by the security entrance, looking agitated. He'd never visited my workplace before. I don't think he even knew which building I worked in until he'd looked it up. Jessica, he said when he spotted me. We need to talk. I'm working, I replied. I can't talk right now. This is about the house, he said urgently. The foreclosure notice. The bank is saying the payments stopped 3 weeks ago. There must be some mistake with the automatic system. Can you fix it? There's no mistake, I said. I canceled the payments. He stared at me. What? You texted me 3 weeks ago. You said I was disowned. You told me to talk to your lawyer and not contact you again. Kept my voice level. So I stopped paying your mortgage. Seemed appropriate given the circumstances. He looked genuinely confused. That's what this is about. That text. You disowned me, I said simply. Why would I continue funding your lifestyle after that? Jessica, I was angry. Nathan told me you'd said some things at the engagement party. About not being invited to the wedding. About feeling excluded. You embarrassed him in front of Meredith's family. I hadn't said anything at the engagement party. But I didn't argue. I need you to restart the payments, Dad continued. Today. We're going to lose everything. Your mother is hysterical. The foreclosure. I don't think so, I said. Excuse me. You disowned me, I repeated. Your words. I'm respecting your decision. That's not. He was getting red in the face. Jessica, be reasonable. This is your family home. Your mother lives there. You can't just let us lose it over some stupid argument. I'm not letting you lose anything, I said calmly. You're losing it because you can't afford it. You haven't been able to afford it for 7 years. I've been paying for it. Now I'm not. That's just reality catching up. What are you talking about? Dad demanded. 7 years. The payments were automatic, but I've been contributing. No, I interrupted. You haven't. I've paid every single mortgage payment since 2017. $3,200 per month. Times 84 months. Plus property taxes. Difference. Utilities when you needed it. Emergency repairs. Medical bills. Car payments. I pulled out my phone and opened my financial records. Turned the screen toward him. $311,400 total. Paid from my accounts to keep you in that house. You haven't contributed a single dollar to your own mortgage in 7 years. Dad's face went pale. That's not, I didn't know you were paying all of it. I thought you were just helping sometimes. When things were tight. Things were always tight, I said. Every month for 7 years. And I paid it all. Without complaint. Without asking for anything back. Because you said it was temporary. Because you said the business would turn around. Because I'm family. Then keep helping, Dad said desperately. If you've been paying this long. And then you disowned me, I finished. Told me not to contact you. Because Nathan lied about something I supposedly said. You chose to believe him over me without even asking my side. You chose to cut me out of your life. Over nothing. I'll take it back, Dad said quickly. The text. I was wrong. You're not disowned. I was just angry. Please, Jessica. Your mother is your responsibility, I said. Not mine. You're the parent. You're the homeowner. You figure it out. I can't afford the payments, he admitted, his voice breaking. The business is barely breaking even. Nathan's trying, but it's not enough. If you don't restart the payments, we lose everything. Then you lose everything, I said quietly. That's what happens when you can't afford a house. People lose it. Welcome to reality. I walked past him toward the security entrance. Jessica, he called after me. Please. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have sent that text. I stopped. Turned back. You're right, I said. You shouldn't have. But you did. And now you get to live with the consequences. Just like I've been living with the consequences of supporting you for 7 years while you treated me like I was worthless compared to Nathan. I showed my badge to security and walked inside. Dad couldn't follow. He didn't have clearance. Dad's lawyer called me that afternoon. Gerald Thornton. I'd never heard of him before. Chin, I'm calling on behalf of your father, Richard Chin. He's asked me to mediate a family dispute regarding certain financial arrangements. There's no dispute, I said. I was disowned. I stopped paying his bills. There's nothing to mediate. Your father indicates there may have been a misunderstanding. There wasn't, I interrupted. His text was very clear. He disowned me and told me to contact his lawyer. So here we are. I'm talking to his lawyer. What would you like to discuss? The lawyer paused. Ms. Chin, your father has explained that he's been experiencing financial difficulties. He's indicated that you've been assisting with his mortgage payments and that you've recently stopped these payments, leading to a notice of default from his mortgage company. That's accurate, I said. He's hoping we can reach an agreement to resume these payments while we work out a more formal arrangement. No, I said simply. Ms. Chin, if the foreclosure proceeds, your father will lose his home. Your mother will lose her home. Surely you don't want that. What I want is irrelevant, I said. I'm not responsible for their housing. I'm not on the deed. I'm not on the mortgage. I'm just someone who was helping out of kindness, which has now ended. Your father is willing to apologize for the text message. The lawyer tried. Great. I accept his apology. That doesn't change anything. Chin, be reasonable. I am being reasonable, I said. Your client texted me to say I was disowned and to contact his lawyer. I'm doing exactly what he asked. Treating myself as disowned. Which means I'm no longer financially supporting him. This is the consequence of his decision. If he didn't want this outcome, he shouldn't have sent that text. Are you really going to let your parents become homeless over one text message? The lawyer asked, his tone sharpening. My parents are going to become homeless because they can't afford their mortgage, I corrected. I didn't cause their financial problems. I was just delaying the inevitable. Now the inevitable is arriving. That's not my fault and it's not my responsibility to fix. What about family obligation? My father terminated that obligation when he disowned me, I said. You can't disown someone and then demand they continue funding your lifestyle. That's not how this works. The lawyer was quiet for a moment. What would it take for you to reconsider? Nothing, I said. There's nothing he can offer me. I don't need his money, I have my own. I don't need his approval, I've lived without it for years. I don't need his presence in my life, he just made that clear himself. There's literally nothing he has that I want. So you're just going to let them lose everything. I'm going to let them experience the natural consequences of their financial decisions, I said. Something they should have experienced 7 years ago. I delayed it out of misplaced family loyalty. That delay is over. I hung up. Over the next week, I received 17 emails from various family members. Mom's email was heartbreaking. Long paragraphs about how they'd lose everything. How could I do this? Didn't I care about family? She'd never done anything to hurt me. I replied with a single line. Ask Dad why he disowned me 3 weeks ago. Nathan's email was angry. I was being petty. Vindictive. Destroying the family over nothing. How could I be so selfish? I replied. Did Dad tell you I've been paying his mortgage for 7 years? Or did he leave that part out? Uncle Mike's email tried to be diplomatic. Surely we could work this out. Family should stick together. Everyone says things they don't mean when they're stressed. I replied, when you're stressed, do you disown your children via text message? If not, that seems like a dad-specific problem, not a universal family stress response. Aunt Sharon's email accused me of always being difficult. Always making things about me. Always playing the victim. I didn't reply to that one. 2 weeks after I stopped the payments, I received a call from my brother. We need to talk, Nathan said. His voice was different. Quieter. Do we? Meredith's father looked into Dad's business, he said. For the wedding. He wanted to understand what he was connecting his family to. I waited. The business is completely insolvent, Nathan continued. Has been for years. We're operating at a massive loss. The only reason we're still functioning is because Dad's been pulling money from somewhere. I thought it was from his savings. From investments. It's been from me, I said flatly. I know that now, Nathan said. Meredith's father hired a forensic accountant. They traced everything. $311,400 over 7 years. From your accounts to Dad's mortgage. Plus another $68,000 in various emergency payments. You've given them almost $380,000. I didn't correct his math. It was close enough. Why didn't you tell anyone? Nathan asked. I did tell people, I said. I told Dad every time he asked for money. He knew exactly where it was coming from. He just apparently didn't tell you. But you let us all think you were just some mid-level government employee, Nathan said. You let us treat you like you were barely getting by. I never said I was barely getting by, I corrected. You all assumed that. I just didn't correct you. Because you wanted to look down on us? Nathan demanded. Feel superior? No, I said calmly. Because I wanted to see who you all really were. How you'd treat me if you thought I was nobody special. Just steady, boring Jessica with her government job. Nathan was quiet for a long moment. Meredith's father withdrew his investment in the business, he finally said. He was going to put in $2 million to help us expand. Now he's out. Says he won't tie his family's money to someone who can't manage their own finances. The wedding's off. I'm sorry to hear that, I said. And I meant it. Meredith hadn't done anything to me. No, you're not, Nathan said bitterly. You're probably thrilled. We excluded you from the wedding, so you destroyed it. I didn't destroy anything, I said. I just stopped paying for a house that isn't mine. What Meredith's father chose to do with his investment has nothing to do with me. Everything's falling apart, Nathan said. The business is going under. Dad's losing the house. Meredith broke up with me. And it's all because you decided to be petty. It's all because Dad disowned me, I corrected. And because you all spent 7 years treating me like I was worthless while I funded your lifestyle. Those were your choices. I'm just letting you live with the consequences. I hope you're happy, Nathan said. I'm not happy, I replied. I'm just done. I hung up. 45 days after I stopped the payments, the foreclosure proceeded. Dad and Mom moved into a rental apartment. 2 bedrooms, 30 minutes outside the city. Dad tried to sell the business, but there were no buyers for an insolvent commercial real estate company. Nathan moved back in with them. His downtown loft had been financed through the business. When that collapsed, so did his living situation. I heard all this through Aunt Sharon, who decided to become the family messenger whether I wanted her to be or not. Your father's devastated, she told me over a phone call I hadn't asked for. They lost everything. They lost the house I was paying for, I corrected. They still have each other. Their health. Their lives. They're fine. How can you be so cold? How could he disown his daughter via text message? I countered. We're asking the wrong questions here. He apologized, Aunt Sharon insisted. Multiple times. What more do you want? I don't want anything, I said. That's what everyone keeps missing. I'm not negotiating. I'm not holding out for some big gesture. I'm just done. Done being treated like I'm worthless unless I'm useful. Done funding a lifestyle for people who don't respect me. Done being the fallback plan while Nathan gets all the praise. I'm just done. So that's it? Aunt Sharon asked. You're just going to cut them out forever? They cut me out first, I said. I'm just making it permanent. I got a letter in the mail. Handwritten. Dad's handwriting. Jessica, I know you probably won't read this. But I need to say it anyway. You were right. About all of it. I disowned you because Nathan lied about what happened at his engagement party. He said you'd told Meredith's family that our business was failing and that you were the only one keeping us afloat. He said you were sabotaging his wedding. I believed him without asking you. I always believed him over you. And I shouldn't have. Nathan admitted last week that he made it all up. He was afraid you'd actually say something at the wedding about the money. He wanted me to cut you off first. And I did. Because I'm a coward who always took the easy path. You were easy. Nathan was difficult. So I kept Nathan happy and took you for granted. I see that now. Your mother and I are getting by. The apartment is small, but we're managing. Nathan moved out last month. Couldn't stand living with us. We barely hear from him now. Funny how that works. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't expect anything. I just wanted you to know that you were right. About everything. I'm sorry. Dad. I read the letter 3 times. Then I filed it away in my desk drawer and went back to work. A year after the disownment text, I was promoted to senior director at my firm. The promotion came with a significant raise and expanded security clearances. I bought a house in the suburbs. 4 bedrooms, big backyard, excellent school district. Not because I had kids, but because I liked the space. I started dating someone from work. Mark was a senior analyst on a different team. He knew nothing about my family situation and I liked it that way. On Thanksgiving, Mark asked if I wanted to visit my parents. I don't have a relationship with my parents, I said simply. Oh, he said surprised. I'm sorry. Did something happen? My father disowned me via text message, I replied. So I stopped paying his mortgage. He lost his house. We haven't spoken since. Mark processed this. You were paying his mortgage? For 7 years, I confirmed. $311,400 total. He never appreciated it. Told me I didn't contribute to the family. Then disowned me when my brother lied about something I'd supposedly said. So I let the natural consequences happen. That must have been hard, Mark said carefully. It was freeing, I corrected. I'd been carrying their financial burden for years while they treated me like I was worthless. Stopping was the easiest decision I ever made. We spent Thanksgiving with Mark's family instead. They were kind, welcoming, and didn't ask me for money. It was the best Thanksgiving I'd had in years. Sometimes people ask me if I regret it. Letting my parents lose the house. Cutting off the family. I don't. Because here's what I learned. You can't build a relationship on obligation and financial support. You can't buy respect by paying someone's bills. You can't earn love by being useful. My father disowned me because I wasn't valuable enough to keep around when I might embarrass my brother. That told me everything I needed to know about what I actually meant to them. I wasn't their daughter. I was their ATM. And once I stopped dispensing cash, they had no use for me. The fact that they lost their house wasn't my fault. It was inevitable. I just stopped delaying the inevitable. They had 7 years to get their finances in order. 7 years to build a sustainable life. 7 years to appreciate what I was doing for them. They chose not to. That's not on me. I sleep perfectly fine at night. In my house. That I paid for. With my money. All of it mine.